So episode 3 of the What If series has just dropped, so let's talk about it. This was, for me, my favourite one. I definitely preferred it to Captain Carter and T'Challa as Star-Lord, and following T'Challa as Star-Lord coming out, I've changed my mind and I actually prefer Captain Carter to that, just based on seeing other people's videos on T'Challa as Star-Lord, kind of saying how things don't really make sense and stuff like that. But yeah, this is definitely my favourite one, like I said, and this is obviously the one where a certain someone that I'll talk about later goes around murdering the Avengers in Fury's Big Week. And if you don't know what Fury's Big Week is, in 1 week the events of Iron Man 2, Thor 1, The Incredible Hulk, and the end scene of Captain America where he arrives in the future all happen. So basically all of the Avengers are on Earth at the same time. Obviously Hulk, Thor, Captain America, Natasha Romanoff, Clint Barton, and Iron Man. So all the Avengers from the initial Avengers movie are on Earth, and Fury goes around doing his thing, trying to like recruit them for the first Avengers movie. So that is why it's called Fury's Big Week. So this all happens within 1 week, hence why so much happened in this What If episode, because it all happened in a similar time zone. So it's not like this episode happened over a couple of months. It was all in 1 week, which is crazy. So we start off with the Iron Man 2 scene where they go to try and like talk to Tony Stark, and they give him the jab in the neck to help with his symptoms, and well, we know that that ends up killing him. We know why that is later, which I'll talk about then. So I definitely thought whilst watching this was something to do with Hydra within S.H.I.E.L.D., because obviously we know that Hydra was like building up with inside S.H.I.E.L.D. still. So I definitely thought at the time of watching it that it was Hydra. We later knew that it wasn't. Obvious spoilers to What If, by the way. I forgot to say that already, but I mean, I don't know why you're watching this if you haven't seen the What If series yet, or at least this episode of it. And then obviously it goes to Thor, and Clint Barton ends up shooting him. Now, he was convinced that he didn't shoot, so either thought that he misfired, which is extremely unlikely for someone as skilled as Hawkeye, or someone else shot him with a bow and arrow from the exact same angle that he was. Didn't really make sense, so I wasn't sure how that one happened. Then obviously whilst in his cell, Hawkeye died, because obviously he was put in a cell for killing Thor, and I assumed that, I don't know, he got given a drink or something while he was in there and it was poisoned. I was so confused as to how everyone was dying. I was convinced it was Hydra for Tony's death, but after that I didn't have a clue. Then obviously we go to Hulk, and he just like explodes because he expands so much. Quite a sad scene, because he's just like some beast, basically like an animal, and when an animal whines, that's always like a sad thing. Like, you know, whenever you see a movie and there's a dog in it and the dog ends up getting hurt or something, that's probably the saddest part of the movie. And Hulk is basically an animal, so that applies the same way. Like Infinity War, when he gets beat up by Thanos and he whines that first time, that's quite a sad scene in my eyes. I thought it was a really, I don't want to say cool, but an interesting way to kill the Hulk, because there's not really any other way to do it. Yeah, I didn't have a clue how this happened. I assumed it was a bullet with some chemicals on it that would react to something different about the Hulk's blood to a normal person. I didn't know, but I thought this one was Hydra, like Tony, because obviously it wouldn't be hard for like a Hydra agent to infiltrate the group of people that went to kill the Hulk. Then obviously we saw Black Widow get beat up. We didn't see her die, but I assume she did, by someone that we couldn't see, which I then knew who the killer was. Obviously it was someone with Hank Pym's technology. We saw her open up a tab with Janet Van Dyne. It had a cross in her name, assuming that she'd either already declined it or something, which doesn't make sense because Tony had already declined it and they still went after him, or died. So I assume she had died, so it was only either Hope or Hank. And judging off of Ant-Man 1, Hank didn't want Hope to use like his technology and become a fighter. I assumed it was Hank Pym, which of course it was. Now, what I thought was really cool was Loki taking like the whole Asgardian army down to Earth to avenge Thor. One, how does he know how Thor's died? But two, it shows that Loki did care about Thor. Like, we obviously know this from the Loki series, and we just knew it anyway, but the Loki series pointed it out, because obviously he saw like the things on the screen, his mother dying, the nice moment he had with Thor in the elevator on Ragnarok and stuff like that. But yeah, Loki went to avenge Thor because obviously he cares about him. He uses the like frost giant ice cube thingy to freeze everyone, and then they eventually come to an agreement, which was one of my favorite scenes of like this episode, because it does point out that Loki wasn't a true villain. He's never been evil for evil's sake. He's had what he thought were good reasons behind everything he's done. So when there is no reason, when an alliance can be formed with Earth and Asgard, then he's taken advantage of that, because he, at the end of the day, doesn't have anything against Earth as a whole. At least he found that out afterwards, because the person that killed Thor is also an enemy of S.H.I.E.L.D., because S.H.I.E.L.D. didn't want to kill Thor or Iron Man or Hulk or anyone like that. Now, Nick Fury nearly contacts Captain Marvel, which would have been so good to see Captain Marvel fight Loki and the whole Asgardian army. However, I'm glad that Nick Fury figured out who it actually was, because, well, it made for a better episode in my opinion than just a huge fight scene at the end of it. He goes to the Destroyer, which I think was really cool that they left the Destroyer on Earth. Obviously, a way to contact Asgard from Earth still. And Loki comes back and forms an alliance with Nick Fury. Something that I never thought that I would see happen, but it was very good to see how Loki's powers worked with Nick Fury to fight Hank Pym. And obviously Nick Fury showed his intelligence very well in this episode, outsmarting Hank Pym, although he did have help from Loki, but just him knowing where Hank would be, going to Hope's grave and stuff like that. Now, the what if title for this episode is What If Earth Didn't Have Its Mightiest Heroes, or something like that. But the actual decision that changed, or the one part of the universe that changed, was Hope dying on a mission. Now, I'm not sure if in the MCU Hope actually went on any missions, so maybe it's What If Hope Went on Missions, but obviously they can't say that in the title because it would spoil this part of the episode. Now, when Hank does appear, he definitely has some improvements to his technology and his suit, which makes a lot of sense, because in Ant-Man, it seems like he hasn't used the suit for a very long time, hasn't worked on it for a very long time, and kind of abandoned the project. And obviously, if Hope died and he did decide to like try and avenge her death and kill the people that he blames for it, he's obviously going to try and improve the suit, and he definitely did so. He's got like the little spider legs on the side, similar to the Iron Spider suit, but obviously it's not spider legs, which is obviously very effective, as it's more than just a man that can shrink and grow. It does have weapons to it, very similar to the Yellow Jacket suit actually. It's nearly identical. So if we go back to how Hank Pym actually killed the Avengers, now that we know that he did, obviously in the little chemical thingy that was jabbed into Tony's neck, he was on the end of the pin and went inside Tony, I believe, or something like that. Obviously very smart. We know Hank Pym is a very intelligent person. Black Widow figured this out by going to Bruce Banner's kind of girlfriend in the first Hulk that has never been seen since. So again, shows that she's pretty intelligent. She knew where to go, and showing that Hulk's girlfriend, I forget what she's called, is pretty smart as well. But yes, a very clever way to kill Iron Man. Then it cuts to how Hawkeye shot Thor. He basically jumps into Hawkeye's hand and makes him release his fist, which is holding back the bow. Then Hulk, the way he killed Hulk, he chucks one of the enlarging discs that we see in Ant-Man to his heart, I believe, which ends up expanding so much that Hulk explodes. Then Hawkeye in his cell, obviously Hank went in there and killed Hawkeye, not too much trouble there. And then obviously we saw how he beat up Black Widow when she was looking on the computer and ended up fighting him anyway. So very clever ways of killing the Avengers, and a very cool episode in my opinion. So if I were to score this episode, I'd probably give it like a 9 out of 10. Like, it definitely could have been better, but it was still really good. The best so far. Maybe not a 9 actually, but I still can't think of anything too wrong with it. So I'm going to give it a 9. I'll probably change it at some point when we see better episodes than it, because obviously this is only episode 3, so I imagine there will be better ones, but this still was very good in my opinion. I really enjoyed it. The fight scene with Loki and Nick Fury and Hank Pym at the end just topped off a fantastic episode. I thought it was really good. I don't know how much of it was actually Nick Fury fighting Hank Pym, because obviously, like I said, Loki was there, and as we saw, Loki was using his illusion skill and stuff like that. So I think it was Loki pretending to be Nick Fury fighting Hank Pym, because Loki has obviously more strength than a normal human, and he was just punching Hank in his suit back like meters and meters, and I don't know how well a normal human could do this, especially considering it's an advanced suit. But at the same time, he is the size of an ant, so I'm not exactly sure, but he was obviously still fighting really well against Hank when he came full size. So I think that it was Loki pretending to be Nick Fury. However, At the end of the episode, we see that Nick still tries to start the Avengers initiative without the Avengers we saw in this episode. Someone that was missing was Captain America coming out of the ice, so he went to the ice and he found Captain America, and stood behind him is Captain Marvel. So I would be really interested to see another episode in like a season 2 of this, to see where this universe goes, what the Avengers look like in this universe. They have Captain America, Captain Marvel. Who else is there? Obviously, they have access to Hank Pym's technology now. Do they make another Ant-Man? That might actually be all they need, because Loki isn't exactly the strongest person, and Captain Marvel definitely is up there, and they're going to need to fight Loki because he has taken over Earth, which is kind of out of character in my opinion, because what I've believed and many other people for a long time is he seems like such a villain in the first Avengers, because the Mind Stone is said to corrupt people and corrupt their minds, hence why Thanos wanted to give it away to Loki in the process of him getting the Space Stone. So when he returns, him having the Space and Mind Stone means he won't have to stick with the Mind Stone for long, because he already has 2 Infinity Stones, so he'll be able to get the others very quickly. But based off this What If episode, I'm not sure how true that is, because Loki at the end is a villain. He still is trying to take over Earth, he still wants to have the throne and stuff like that, which, you know, was kind of taken down in the Loki series, which takes place right after the first Avengers movie, which is where Loki is seen like the most villainous. But anyway, it was still a top tier episode. I very much enjoyed it. And yeah, that is going to be all. That is my thoughts on What If episode 3. A very good episode in my opinion. Let me know what you thought of this episode. And yeah, thank you very much for, I think, 9.2k subs. 10k special on the way when we hit 10k. Some more Star Wars videos coming soon, because I've done 2 Marvel ones in a row. So yes, definitely look out for that. Please do leave a like if you did enjoy. Comment on what you thought. I don't know if I've already said that or not. But yeah, thank you for watching. Goodbye.